What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to Grayson Media Inc. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe across all platforms. Enjoy the show. Grayson out.
This is Grayson Politics Live. I'm Grayson, built on facts, transparency, accountability. Like, follow, and subscribe. Support on Cash App and Zelle.
Good evening, everyone. This is Grayson Politics Live with me, Grayson. Thank you for joining me tonight. We had a few hiccups, a few discrepancies in terms of the show and stuff like that. We normally stream on Monday, so I apologize to the audience and the followers, but I thank you for being here. Tonight, I am going to have Erika Woods. I'm about to bring her up. And let's get started. All right. So give me 1 second. Yeah, so good evening and welcome to Grayson Politics Live, a Grayson Media Inc. production. Tonight we're going to be speaking with Jersey City native community activist and educator who has been the center of the critical conversation surrounding Jersey City Board of Education and Transparency and Accountability, Erika Woods. Erika, welcome back, I should say.
Right. Second time around. Second time the show.
You are the only, we're new here, but you're the only in Grayson Politics history co-host. So consider that an honor here. So for those who may not know you, who is Erika Woods beyond the titles, and what motivated you to become a community activist in terms of Jersey City?
Well, I don't think I even chose to do this. I just stepped into this field because I'm just inquisitive and love to know things that I was never into politics. Let me be very clear. I don't know how I honestly stepped into this, and it just has to be pure nosiness because I never cared about politics. I never thought about ever trying to become a politician. My little slogan, I used to say, I don't play politics. But then people used to tell me, like, stop saying that. When I was going to run for school board, somebody was like, don't say that because you technically are playing politics. And I was like, I don't want that because, you become silenced. And then how would people know what's really going on in the hood if I decided to be a politician and be muted because that's what they do. So outside of minding the city's business, yeah, I'm an advocate. I'm a social worker by trade. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So a lot of the things that I speak on, especially about business, I've experienced within this city. I've experienced the way that they, treat business owners that have lots of money, meaning management companies and developers, versus how they treat regular people. And so, yeah, I decided to finally voice my opinion since the people that were in position couldn't help me when it was their position to help me. So I decided to tell them how to do their job, and I've been having fun ever since.
I love it. You were recently recognized at a community award ceremony and brunch and received an award. What did that recognition mean to you, and what does that say about your community support behind your work?
I mean, it just goes to show that people are paying attention at least. And, for the most part, so many people, I've been told so many different things. I've been called vile by people. I've been called drama. I've been called all I do is throw shade. All of the above. And I'm like, y'all don't even realize this is really people's experiences. Like, these aren't even my stories to tell. I just tell it in a way that's going to make people read it, but unfortunately it's real life and people want these stories to be told, which is why they tell me. And so, I just don't, life is just life, like, and that's just that. So the calling is just, I don't know, it's just it's, I don't think it's into put too many words you could put into it though.
Does that reinforce your advocacy to resonate with the residents, though?
I mean, I'm going to advocate for people regardless. It's in my nature. Like, this is my third award I've received over the past 10 years. This one was called the Change Maker Award. So receiving that award actually gave me like, okay, people see that I'm not, again, starting trouble. I'm actually trying to make change. And in order for you to make change, you got to disrupt the system. And
Mhm.
so, most people aren't used to, or let me not say that, because even the people that have so much to say about me, unfortunately, were under me apart once upon a time. So these are people that I tried to do community work with or things like that. And so whatever reason we didn't stay together, stay the course together for somehow, some way, these same people have the most to say about me. So it really, it motivates me to keep doing it. It shows me that I'm glad those people never stuck around long enough to be around me. Um, and of course, if you don't like me, you just don't like me. And there's no turn off with me. So who I am, unfortunately, is who I am. Um, I'm never gonna stop advocating. Like I said, I'm a social worker by trade. That is my job to do. I do it wholeheartedly. No matter where I am, I don't have a problem with cutting people up. I don't have a problem with telling people off, and I don't have a problem with telling people when they're wrong. And 9 times out of 10, and I also know how to play devil's advocate. So I'm not a biased type of person. I'm a person that everybody get their fair chance. And if you don't like what I say after that, then that's just on you. So don't talk to me. But yeah.
Let's get right into it. I love it. I'm gonna play something real quick.
Okay.
This is by, just for full context and for the audience. This is for by oh, sorry, I'm a one man band here, so I'm getting used to the StreamYard thing.
Listen.
um Seven Alkaline, I'm sure you are familiar with him. He's a Ward A resident.
Yes, I met Levi.
Uh-huh. And good friend of mine. And he advocates as well. And so I just want your take. So we're gonna play this. Hold on. Let me just run this back.
For 2026, 2027. Here's the problem. Everybody says we have no money. What do we learn every single time? It's starting to get annoying now. The money is always there. Somebody's stealing it. The money is there. They're getting hit with lawsuits and have to pay people out because they're being racist or mistreating people. This is a serious problem. It's going to affect everybody. Not only is it going to start hurting our kids' education, which it already is, what happens when you make decisions like this to increase taxes? Let's think about property taxes. When you increase property taxes, what the hell do you think the owner is going to do? This is a financial burden on the owner. Whether you own or rent, let's be realistic here. That hurts financially. They're going to have to raise rent. Who does that come back to? That comes back to you, the renter. This is just screwing everybody. They need to be audited for all the money that is being stolen. Let's
Mm,
stop talking about mismanaged here. I'm tired of that word. That's just a nice way of saying somebody is stealing that shit. Let's
that's
stop
it.
saying mismanaged. They're stealing money. People are stealing money. And the problem is, so many people are stealing money that they're not saying who it is because so many people are getting a chunk of the pie. A 17% tax increase is insane. They need to go after the people who keep stealing money every single time. The only people are being held accountable are the people who live here. Every single time we have to pay for somebody else's lifestyle. We have to pay for somebody else's trip to the Bahamas. We have to pay for somebody else to get a new
Paris.
sports car. we have to pay for somebody else to get millions or hundreds of thousands and then completely disappear from the system or go somewhere else and restart their scheme. We're not holding nobody accountable. I see so many people in Jersey City sitting here talking about the Greenville section and scared of coming over here because you scared of theft. Little do you know, the biggest thieves in Jersey City wear a suit and a tie. You worried about somebody in Greenville? The biggest thieves wear a suit and a tie.
And the
They are
biggest
as
the biggest
scared of
criminals got the police next to them.
That's who you gotta be
Hmm.
fucking scared of. 17% is crazy. That's a crazy jump.
So let me just remove that and put us back. Okay, perfect. What's your take on that? And I wholeheartedly agree with him, but what's your take?
He is not lying. This is why I keep saying, it's funny how we have all these same politicians that are rinse and repeat. They've been the same politicians that's been in office since we were kids. And one thing for certain, two things for sure, every year they come out with another slogan of what they could do so much better. But if you are part of the problem, you cannot fix the problem, unfortunately. And so every last one of them, they get raises every year, no problem. But for some reason, they keep making the same promises every year with no solutions. Every quarter, every year, taxes go up. This year, the 17% tax hike, that's not including the Board of Education. Board of Education already said that people are going to be paying $88 a month extra. That's only public school. Let's not forget, again, we still have county and we still have city. When those equal out, when are our elected officials going to speak up about this? When it hits people's bill? Like, why aren't they talking about it now? And from what I hear, people are trying to, this is the time for budgets to be done and, the states start giving out their money and whatever. So they're trying to find ways to reallocate funds or use funds to help with the offset of that. But let's be realistic. Why are we still bailing out people? Because that's another way, unfortunately, is a bailout for the Board of Education. Yet our superintendent, who allegedly does not even live in Jersey City. So, when you hear things like this, what stake do these people really have in Jersey City besides having a job here? Which it seems like a lot of people that are quote unquote invested in Jersey City no longer live here. Granted, they can't afford to live here, and that's wholeheartedly understandable. But sometimes when you no longer live in the place that you serve, you don't care the same. So all of these people that keep getting pay increases, all of these different things, right slapped in our faces when you're telling us we're broke. So why are we still using money to increase people's finances or enlarge their territory, as I would say? Meanwhile, our territories keep depreciating, decreasing, and we're losing. And then they tell us, okay, well, come out and vote. Right? Nobody speaks up. Nobody does this, that, and the third. Okay, so now we doing it. Now everybody want to block people. Now everybody want to have an attitude. Now everybody want to, well, why are you picking on this person? Because those little dinners that y'all keep giving out don't serve a purpose. You feeding somebody today. What about next week? Let's be realistic. So let's stop putting band-aids over these so problem. I saw in the summertime Jerry Walker and was giving out produce. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw them giving out produce, peeling bananas off of a banana. I call it the bushel. Whatever it's called. Why are we peeling bananas off of it? Like you can't, so we don't have enough produce to give a whole. We only got enough to give pieces. Like, stop playing with us. Like at this point, like stop. The bingo is cute. Okay, what's next? Like, and this is like they keep preying on the weak. The weak are the seniors. They're preying on them. They're giving them false hopes and beliefs that they're going to do something to turn it around. And every year they say this, and when it's time for an election, they say the same old story. But every year their taxes keep increasing. So therefore, if we could find ways to increase people's salaries, why can't we find solutions to cap seniors at least their taxes? But because that would be too easy, that would give them a sigh of relief. That would make life too easy for them. So what do? We prey on them. We tell them what we're going to try and do. And then we write bills, right? Because this is another thing they do. We write bills. They get written, signed into law. but then it goes silent. Nobody does a follow up, nobody does a follow through, nobody does anything. And then when we come to these community meetings, right, we ask questions and it's like, well, let me get back to you on that. Why didn't you follow it? It was your bill. You were supposed to make sure it got followed through. No, because this is what they're used to. They're used to us being, oh yeah, excited of the signing on the dotted line, not realizing after that what's next. So wholeheartedly, everything that Levi said is 1,000% true because it makes no sense that we are rinsing, repeating the same methods, the same ideologies, the same things, and we have these people look dead to me. None of these politicians look like they got life. Everybody either beefing with each other, low key. Let's be realistic, because when they was on their own personal journey trail before they all merged together and became friends, you know how everybody had to bend over backwards for somebody, right? Y'all all talked about them, and every last one of y'all talked about their incompetencies and what they were incapable of doing. But now all of a sudden, y'all best friends. You see how the politics work? Because the same community leaders that quote unquote said that they would never turn and never do this and they would always stay community, look at them now. Everybody just kissing something that they said they would never kiss before. So yeah, Levi didn't say nothing wrong. Our politicians are dumb as doorknobs. They have no solutions for anything. Like I said, they put band-aids over, as my friend Sheena said, bullet wounds. And they don't provide the surgery that's necessary, but they know how to find the tools when it's time to increase salary. So and get those contracts signed. Because that's another thing. Contracts, all of these RFPs, our commissioners and these people sign these things. So when you start seeing the same things happening over and over again, but why your friend got a contract, when they going to start doing the work?
Yep.
So, you know, I can go on and on about them and
No,
their
we're gonna get
incompetencies.
into it. Trust me. Trust me. We're gonna get into it. So speaking of the Jersey City Board of Education,
Mm.
um, they had, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, we'll talk about facts here. What led they sent you, did they send you like a cease and desist or something like that? Or whatever? And what specifically were you saying to do to trigger these responses? Why were they trying to silence you?
Because I'm black. I mean, let's be realistic. White people do it all the time. Go up there and cut them up. What do they do? No, what they did was, so I could tell you the whole thing. Because see, one thing about me, I observe. So when I got to that meeting initially, it was a Black History program with every bit of about 20% Black kids. Whatever. So the Black History program happens. Whatever. We finally, after about 2 hours, get to the meeting. Cool. Meeting starts, and that's when they started talking about Musab. So I started posting on social media like, "Oh, Dejan up here trying to get you banned, Musab," and I'm saying it. So I'm watching Mr. McSassy up there looking at his phone. So he's looking at his phone and he's smiling. So again, now they going on with the meeting and they're talking and they like talking out their neck to these people. Now this is my first board meeting. So I'm sitting here very confused. Like, so y'all really like these people talk, like these cornballs talk to y'all like this? Like, so I stood up mid-meeting because that's how I started getting agitated. Like, this how y'all talk to each other? Like, I was confused. So about an hour into that, I saw Dejan showed the lawyer, the attorney, his phone.
Mhm.
The attorney then looked at his phone. They looking back and forth at their phone. They then get up, signal for Rudy Snelling, which is a retired detective, to come over to them. And they went over to where I guess the media stuff is and printed out this letter at the meeting because it was dated for that day. And because how would you know I was going to be there? Let's be realistic. So it was printed out at that meeting. And I wound up finding out later on that Dejan supposed to have said he asked, could we give her this letter? And so that's why I was given the letter. I wasn't going to take it at first but I'm nosy. So I wanted to see how much time they wasted on little old precious me because I never knew I could ruffle people's feathers that make 300 plus $1,000. And since y'all told me that that's what I could do, I'm going to make sure I do it some more because clearly y'all should have never gave me that much power. So Rudy gives me the letter. I told him I wasn't going to take it, but then I took it. So when I realized what it was, they said, "Oh, well, you can still talk at the meeting." I know I can because clearly this is a public forum. Like, you can't tell me I can't speak here. I signed up to speak. You can't tell me I can't speak. So that's when I went up to the microphone and I said, "Y'all found me?" Like, clearly, because then I learned a lot. I learned that, allegedly Norma be having people follow and look at my page on a regular basis to see what I got to say. I wound up finding out from Bruce when he decided to make that post up that day when, he wanted to be my friend for a day. That
I'm gonna get into him too. Go ahead.
uh, that I was that he learned that they were trying to get my social media taken down and all of this stuff. And I was like, dang. So what did I lie about? Because clearly I can show my kids don't go to public school. I have stressed that numerous times. My kids stopped going to public school when my oldest was in fifth grade. My oldest is a junior in college. They stopped going to public school because 15 almost got turned upside down. So therefore, like, I was confused. Like, what do I have to lie about? So that's why that day I decided to post the letters. Every email, every text message, every messenger message. It's to the point now, like, people are literally looking for me to tell their story because the Board of Education does not want to listen or doing things the wrong way. But then they want to know, how did I find out? Because evidently people are telling me. So again, my kids don't go to public school. How would I know all this stuff is going on? So that's how I got the cease and desist date. And I learned that the reason why they didn't mail it to me initially because they didn't know if it was my home address or a business address, which is still stupid. But they eventually mailed it to me. So I got their hard copy because the other copy I did rip up in front of them. And they felt like I disrespected them and all of this stuff. And I was like, well, you disrespect me by giving it to me. So I guess two could play this game.
Uh, I love it. You've also been well, it's not alleged. We talk about facts here and accountability. So you've also been removed and pushed out of Facebook groups. Do you see that as a part of being a broader pattern of silencing?
They can do whatever they want. Cause I see every time they still talk about it, anytime they talk about me, people still send it to me. So it don't really hurt my feelings. And like I said, y'all won't, if I can't respond, I'm gonna keep posting y'all until y'all take my stuff out of it. Cause don't have my name nowhere that I can't respond to. So therefore, I see the last time that they decided to post in the group and say something about me, I bet you it got removed because the people who quote unquote run that group don't like the confrontation and don't like all of this, all of these things. But I do. So what's up? Either you gonna let me play in the scene or don't have my name played in it. So we don't do that. So yeah, I've been removed from groups. I've been removed from politician pages. You name it, and I'm just like, dang. I thought y'all told me to hold people feet to the fire. Now all of a sudden I'm doing it, and I don't even feel like I'm doing it too wrong. Like, I just ask normal questions, and why can't we get normal answers? But again, as long as we're blindfolded and stupid and playing dumb, they love us. The moment we wake up and start asking real questions that actually, work for us and not against us, it's a problem. So now we're the problem.
Uh, is the board acting in the best? Well, you showed a before I ask my next question. You showed a video of someone else showing a video. Believe it was one of these schools. We're thinking number 5 or
Number 5, which one? The girls' bathroom or the auditorium?
auditorium
That was 37.
37. And that's where's 30?
Downtown by the Holland Tunnel.
That's right. And so I didn't go to public school all throughout my career, but my school life, but I went to 17 before I transitioned to charter. And that school, I remember when it was built on Belmont and Bergen. I went to the old 17 that was on Duncan, that I believe is number 1 now, I believe, or
Yeah, they
whatever.
got too many numbers, but
I
yeah, I know
know.
what you're talking about. The one
Um,
that they use as like the alternative school or something like that.
correct. So they said now, even in that auditorium, it's built on a slant, because 17 was built on a slant, that the seats are coming up and everything, the ground is breaking up over the years. That school got to be at least 30-35 years old, since we were kids.
Hmm.
So when you showed that video, so my question to you is, with, and especially with the school lunch and stuff like that, and is the board acting in the best interest of the students, or protect?
Absolutely not. Only schools that they act in the best interest of is what school number is that? Number 7, I think, up in the Heights. Love that. They love that school. Love that school. Pay attention to that school. You can go to that school and start anything, and they gonna get any and everything. School is immaculate. What other schools get special treatment? 17 school just got their what's the name redone over wherever they found money for that at. What's that innovation that's in Snyder? Get pretty fair good treatment, but Snyder doesn't. Who else? 16 school get pretty fair decent treatment because their parents are very active. I don't know of too many other schools. I think they said it's another school like in the Heights that get pretty fair treatment. But
Mhm.
for the rest of them, majority of them just get treated like, scraps. They
even
get the bare minimum. And if
even
they're principal,
even
what?
the newer ones like Maya Angelou, and up on there
Well,
on
that
that.
school they have. I mean, a lot of people don't like the principal there. But I'm pretty sure that the school lunch looks immaculate, amazing, because
Okay.
people have sent me the school lunch for there. Um, yeah, a lot of. I mean, the ones that function correctly probably have the. And if you have people that work there that actually care, then that's the good thing. For most of these schools, most of the lunch aides make about 16, $17 an hour. They're per diem, they're part time. They don't have no benefits. There are people that work in those kitchens for 30 plus years and have nothing to show for it.
Got it.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things, unfortunately. Some people get overlooked, some people get this quick, and some people just get ignored. And a lot of these principals are also being greatly ignored because one, they are at the right place, and two, if they stand up to normal, it's like standing up to Trump. And if they're not going to nobody, and unfortunately, that's just how schools are being treated. They're firing teachers left and right. They're putting them in a reflection room, which is also known as the rubber room. A lot of teachers are being suspended or in trouble for using their phone, posting on social media, but yet our board trustees do whatever as they please. So, you know, and again, it depends on who has the rules that apply for them. Because I know over the summertime, I got into a big old debate with one of these bullying specialists where she could have just minded her business. But, when people are on their eighth and ninth school, because they can't stay out of school and always in something, they get passes too. But, welcome to the Board of Education.
Wow.
We have our HR director up for another discrimination charge. They're paying out another 450, well, no, my bad, $475,000 in discrimination fees, with litigations and all that. Make it make sense. With about 3 more open cases right now. So you tell me, are they in the best interest of the kids? Or as the parents said, 3.1, I think, was spent on litigation alone. 3.1 million. So we spent 3.1 million on majority discrimination or some type of whistleblowing or firing people for, wrong reasons that shouldn't be fired. So yeah, we got, the mafia going up there.
I hear you on that one. We don't do gotcha questions here, so we're about facts, transparency, and accountability on Grayson Politics Live. The platform started in December 2025 and then grew to 3,200 subscribers, and we're local and still ignored. So to my next question, so if this was a Fox 5, CBS New York, or NBC 4, ABC 7, all of them, Pix 11, uh, and what I'm getting into is, I'm gonna post this real quick. Let me show this so people can have transparency. So this was about Jerry Walker. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, yes.
And that one
Why?
wasn't just in particularly to him. That was to all the state elected officials, actually.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
how many of them are mute right now?
So, and then there was another one. What did you mean by this one? Recently posted.
Because this is everything that's being done currently right now is similar to what Philip did. My thing is right. There are so many directors that are currently sitting in positions still that did not retire, that are still remaining with their job. They're contributing. They were contributing factors to our deficit. So these directors also get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Why we continuously pay bad behavior, bad practices, and when you talk to the people that work within these agencies and these offices, they do more of the work than directors ever do. And granted, once you become up in the caliber, you do, relinquish some of your work, right? Your powers. But not being at work and you get paid for a 9 to 5 is questionable. So why aren't y'all at work every day? Why do y'all only get involved and invested when people start making too much noise about something, but the people that get reprimanded are the people that's actually doing the work, not you, who probably should have intervened a long time ago. Just like people up at the zoning board and up there building, the processes that it takes to get certain things done in these high level position places, it goes unseen and unheard of, and these directors have their attitudes are horrible. So while we keep rewarding bad practices, and let's go on to how they just split this meeting and then the other day during Easter weekend, it's how you do things when, not to say people are paying attention, but for a fact that people are doing other things. So yeah, again, we're doing the same thing, rewarding bad behavior. Why are we giving or standing for an increase? And let's talk about this increase in their pay. So this increase in their pay is not something that's new. So let's just be clear about that. It was something that was always in the works. Or it was something that was always there. Let's just say that. So from what I was told, and hopefully I'm saying it right, they always had that money to be paid, whatever it was. That Solomon, when he became mayor, he did like an executive order and was like, he's taking it away because it was basically money sitting there that wasn't used. Just like a lot of positions that are still vacant, that now they could use that money that was once for those positions if they take those positions away. So them asking for an increase is technically not them asking for an increase, but hey, give us back the money you took. And so that's what the issue is. But we're trying to figure out, why are we paying you? Why are we giving you something back that once you wasn't using? And two, do you really deserve it? Because the team that you're rooting for to get this extra money from was also part of the team that actually couldn't read what was supposed to have been read in these documents. So stuff just don't make sense to me. So that's why I called him a Phillip 2.0, because that was a straight Phillip move, what Phillip would have did. And unfortunately, it's giving Phillip 2.0. What happened, Grayson? Grayson, you got me up here by myself now? I'm like, you got me talking to myself.
Are we back?
I never left.
Oh, okay, good. No, my bad. I don't
I
know.
was like, wait, did I mess up?
No, you didn't. I was hearing some staticky, so I went out and went back in. My apologies. I should have announced that. Um, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's like I don't understand why, like over across the river, Manami, he got rid of everybody that Eric Adams and them, you know, preceded them and stuff, all the directors and stuff, with the exception of the police chief and stuff like that or whatever. But for the most part, I don't know why he's not Solomon, who I supported, is not doing a clean sweep in terms of whatever. He just promoted Linda at Health and Human Services, which well deserved. But I don't understand why he's not doing a clean sweep like like you said.
I mean, the reality of it is it just really goes to show you that people say one thing and do another thing. And when the pressure is on, the pressure is on, just like with Trump. I'm not saying everything that he's doing is like he's a puppet. Because when you say one thing and you do the opposite, either somebody got some real heavy things on you that'll weigh you down all the way to the bottom of the river, or that's just how you felt and you ride because that's what you chose to do. So I'm trying to hope that Solomon wasn't lying to us. And I'm hoping that, he just figured out that this was a bigger job than he probably thought that it was. And this is why he's just playing the game just to get by. To get by because it's easier to just keep playing the game.
So let's get into the I reached out to let's get into like the transparency, and we of certain things, transparency in terms of expanded outreach and stuff like that. So we talk about facts, transparency, and accountability on here on Grayson Politics Live. And I just want your take on this. So I did a little digging, and I reached out to Masab Ali, and he responded, and then he told me to. I hope he's watching, or he'll see this. And then he told me to reach out to his communications person. Reach out, no answer. So I said, fine. But the one that really got me was who's running for office is, and I love her to death, Pam Nicole Johnson. She's running for commissioner or something like that, freeholder, is if I'm not mistaken, a District 3 or something like that. Yeah. And I think she's Griffin's chief of staff. So who I know, when she was running for council, um I don't know this person personally, but I know they're affiliated with former Ward F council person Jermaine Robinson, and they used to be his chief of staff. And her name, I'm gonna call you out on here on the show, and we keep it professional, but I'm gonna call you out. Brittany Rose. She runs Pam's thing, everything. She ran Pam's when Pam ran twice um for council, and now with her running for the freeholder, Jerry Walker's old spot in the county. And Pam is also chief of staff for Michael Griffin. So my correlation to the point is, I reached out to Pam twice to get an interview. One, when she got on this uh when she got on this committee, when Solomon first got elected and stuff. I reached out to her and Gadsden. They both read my message seen on social media. Seen, I direct messaged them or whatever. So I reached out again, one more time. Both left me seen. I think because this Brittany Rose person, and I'm saying this allegedly, because I used to call out Jermaine Robinson. Now I was a little naive back then. I will admit it. And you've called me out on it. You know, when Full Up first got in office or whatever. You know, I used to advocate for him. He was a breath of fresh air from Healy. But I used to call out Jermaine because I used to live in Ward F. Now I live in Ward B, but I used to live in Ward F. And excuse my French, the shit I used to see or didn't see done, I should say, I used to call him out on social media. And Brittany didn't like that. She did not like that. And she would hoorah rah because she was on payroll. And she would, oh, you saying this or this, that you should come to the council meeting. Why should I come to the council meeting? I'm working. I'm working at the time. I was working like overtime and stuff like that. He wasn't doing his job. So now you trying to block me from reaching somebody who's running for office or running for, or whatever the case may be, and it's all correlating. I see it, and I'm not taking it personal, but I see the like you said, the politics and stuff, the clicks now or whatever. Who is a part of who? Because Pam is. I reached out to Griffin, no response. But we got a couple of. I'm not gonna say anything now, but we got a couple of elected officials who have gotten back to me, and we'll have them later on, and I have them booked and stuff like that. But what's your take on that?
I know Pam on a personal level, so I could call
Hmm.
Pam right now and be like, sis, why you not answering? So I mean, again, I don't know what it could be if Brittany is taking that personal and being the wedge. I don't know her for being like that. I know Brittany because
Hmm.
I'm in different settings with her. I don't get that from her. That she ride for her people. Yeah, she does. Um, but again, when you're in the politics world, there's no such thing as you don't want to talk to certain people because you don't like certain things because unfortunately that's not how it works. And so if somebody's disrespecting you, there shouldn't be no reason for you not to even want to sit down with people whether you don't like them or not because aren't you for the people? Are you on for certain people? So with that, again, it just goes to show you how politics work. It just goes to show you how sometimes people that don't know you won't invest in you. And I've had that same issue with a few people where I've reached out, and I guess because again, if you're not the number one person or you ain't white, let's be realistic and they look at you like, well, who was this Negro
Hmm.
or whatever, and it's like, well, I'm the Negro that's in the town that we all grew up in, and I have more questions to ask about real things, not coming from outside perspectives that's not here. So I can honestly speak on what I don't see being done without me showing up to meetings because why is it taking 3-4 years for certain streets to get paid? Right then and there, that just goes to show you the neglect. And the neglect has been loud. And one thing I can honestly say, because it was funny, I had a conversation with one of my cousins, and he was like, "Yo, you've been on the city behind since they was messing with you." That was in 2022. So I was like, "Good God!" So this is nothing new. So I've been having the same complaint since 2022. It's 2026. I have a right to sit here and I can compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, literally. Because since I started going in on them, which was in 2023, about April. So this is 3 years straight of me cutting the city up for the same issues. 3 years later, I can still speak on it, which means that I can show data, I can show proof of nothing being done. So, again, when you spoke on Jermaine, you didn't lie on him. There's a lot of people that would Jermaine had a lot of leverage over being a politician that he did not use or take. And so whatever you said about him, you said about him because clearly he, wanted to threaten people to tell him to come outside like he was about that life they was talking about. So I trashed them. But again, our politicians seem to take everything personal went to one council meeting. I said I would never go to those either again. Why? You sit there for 30 hours to watch
It's
people
long.
sit up there and look at you and try to sound intelligent, and they really can say, oh, listen, everybody sounded confident. After a while, you're sitting there like, did you read? Oh, I didn't know nothing about it. Well, why didn't you know nothing about it? Shouldn't y'all have y'all people questioning people? What are they going to be discussing in these meetings? People should ask questions so y'all can be a little bit more aware of why people are complaining versus people just complaining. I didn't know nothing about that. Why would you if you didn't ask, if you didn't investigate, if you didn't research it? But then y'all want us to come up here and beg y'all for 3 minutes while y'all sit there and look at us. Then y'all getting up using the bathroom like y'all should have bought Depends if that was the case. Because why y'all gotta use the bathroom so much? Y'all nervous? Like, I mean, like I'm confused. So, you know, and to hear Miss Laverne, I think she said she's 74-ish. Said she been coming to city hall meetings since she was 18, begging for the same thing. Like, I'm confused. I'm not doing it. So therefore, I'm just gonna keep making y'all looking confident and dumb. And unfortunately, as long as people keep voting y'all in, and they're gonna keep voting people in because people just vote down the line. People don't do research. People are lazy. People don't want to question nothing because they act like they're oblivious to real life. But my taxes keep going up. So ask more questions. I don't know what to ask for. You're stupid. How about that? Ask a little deeper. What should I ask at the council meeting? What are some things y'all should be addressing? Everybody acts so dumb with pay. So we just keep paying into the dumbness.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, because you got people like who I plan I'm gonna reach out. Hopefully she'll come on. People like Esther who go to I've went to a couple of council meetings and I look up to Esther. She knows it all. She'll call them out on everything. And she's been going to council meetings, since a long time, since we were, we the same age. We both born in 86 and stuff like that. But since we've been little, and she doesn't play. She'll call you out on a lot of stuff. She'll have the facts and stuff like that. When I went up and spoke that time, she was like, "Good job." It's little things like that, that go a long way. But I've seen like just like those people at Portside keep begging and begging and begging for the last council to help them out and stuff like that. But I heard they still begging. I haven't been to a council meeting since. I hope to go to the next one, but still.
Listen, I'm not going to no meeting. I will continue to see. I refuse to sit and look in people's faces that look at us like we are robots. They look at us and be like, I didn't know this was happening. Stupid. Why? How would you? Like I said, the big words they try to use, try to formulate sentences. They know absolutely. They don't need to me. They don't even know their jobs. To be real honest, because like I said, even with what Levi said, the mismanagement, this word, that's the legal word that they use to negate the fact or to not hold people really accountable. So we'll say mismanagement, you'll just go down as the worst mayor in history. You'll just get added to the list. But if I had a job and money went missing out of my cash register, I would be fired. I would potentially be facing jail time. I used to do loss prevention. We lock people up for less. Like, I remember we got a call when I worked at Kohl's that one girl was stealing money out the register while our customers was on the line. And we literally looked back at the cameras and she probably sold like $180. We called the cops. She had to go to court because you're stealing. You're a thief. Like, that's just what it is. You're stealing 255 million and y'all deserve raises. No, everybody deserves a decrease. Nobody deserves increases. Nobody deserves a car. Nobody deserves a cell phone. No, nobody deserves nothing. You want to know why? Because people that get all of that work for it. Work for it. But it seems like our elected officials work for themselves. not a lot of money, but that's not a lot of money for y'all to be switching up the way that y'all switched up. Buying more than one property in a city that costs as much as Jersey City don't make sense to me. 1 plus 1 don't equal 4. But it seems like everything that they touch doubles royalty at the top of the food chain, while us at the bottom keep begging for the same thing. And it's like, oh, we don't have that. Why you got 2 properties? How you get that if we don't have it? Oh, well, it was the. It's like out here as a council person, I don't know how true this story is. Supposedly we got 17 properties they acquired between them and their business partners. How was that? But you know, we know
Wow.
all of these, middleman and food chains. We don't know. We can't really connect the dots because everybody got holding companies. We know the tricks of the trade these days. So I'm not even mad at them for doing it. What I'm mad at is that y'all came in and did the exact same thing that y'all was opposed to happening before y'all became politicians.
I agree. With Tina, on there was one thing she kind of, I saw her on one of your posts, and she 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 came in low, strong. I saw you responded to her, but she said some things that I felt that weren't true, and we're gonna call it out here because she said that nobody acknowledge, you put stuff out and stuff like that or whatever in case of me, but nobody, and she generalized this, that nobody supports, what she pushes out and stuff, especially when she was running for office. Well, I haven't seen her post. Number one, I see her post a lot on the Ward F page and stuff like that, but I haven't seen her post from her page, and everything that she normally does for the community, which I wholeheartedly respect. um I share. I don't have much as followers as you do, but I share it. So that was a false statement, Tina, if you're
Very
watching.
good. No, let's be very clear. When she came out of the side of her neck the other day, I was very confused. One, because mind your business, and no disrespect, I love Tina to death, but sometimes she allows her positions, because she has more than one, with these fellas, get to her personally, and it don't have nothing to do with nothing personally. Those your bosses, they pay you. I don't. I pay you no mind. I could. But when it come down to what she posts for the community, before her friends and family probably repost it, I do. Why? Because I'm not a hater, and I want everybody to be able to benefit from everything that comes through the city if it's for us. This is why I commend her for making sure that the South Side, the Ward F, gets the attention from these outside agencies that when we go to them, we get ignored, right? So I'm not taking that away from her. But for you to call me negative, you on the
Hmm.
phone, and I tell anytime I have an issue with something, I only talk to a certain amount of people about it because one, not everybody cares about politics. Let's be realistic. So I try to talk to people that at least understand these conversations. So like the other day when I was talking about the Jeff Dublin situation, I spoke to Tina on the phone about it. I called her personally. So when I see stuff like that, oh, people start don't follow you or they do this because you're negative. You will want people know that I don't have a negative bone in my body about these people. I could care less about them personally, but politically, oh, I care about it. Why? Because it affects us as a whole. And I'm tired of y'all coming down the pipeline with the same old mundane story of we're trying. No, y'all not. Y'all trying enough to keep us to shut up. Y'all trying enough, like I said, to continue to put band-aids over situations that need surgery. We can't keep applying paper and watching the blood seep through the paper talking about something that's going to get better. It's not stopping the bleed. Did you put a tourniquet on it? Are you doing the life-saving measures to stop the bleeding? No. What you're doing is you're trying to just do enough to preserve the life, but you're not doing enough to keep life going without somebody having to apply pressure to it. So yeah, when she did this, not the first time Tina done took something I said far out of place that had nothing to do with nothing. I didn't tag her. I didn't even tag her boss because clearly I couldn't. But it seemed as though she took it personal about what I said because
Two things. For those who are saying, I know I hear the staticking, I will when Erika talks, it's going in and out and stuff like that. That's fine. I will edit that on the back end so you'll be able to rewatch without the staticking, but I'm not gonna pause the live or have her come out and go out or whatever. So calm your nerve. Some people, like I see this, Mr. Chambers, thank you. I appreciate it. And chill out. Chill out. Just we speaking the truth here. We talk about facts, transparency, and accountability here. Just because you disagree and you're on the bandwagon with certain people doesn't mean that you need to. What happened, Erica? Go ahead. Yeah, he be down with what's Miss Council Madam Council President now, current Madam Council President. Yeah, especially when which one was going up against her. What's her name in Warday? For Warday, I like her. She's a deputy. Uh, I have her on social media, but the one who ran against her. Oh, I think she's gonna come out. But anyway, Erica's gonna come out and go back in probably. Um, but yeah, we talk about facts, transparency, accountability here. We don't sugarcoat, so let's just be respectful about that. Uh uh but yeah, these are the games that are being played in the city just to continue while we're waiting for her to come back. And it's just nonsense. It really is. You have these if you're not a part of a certain clique or thing like that, you can't get certain people on your show. You can't, and I'm not crying. Look, I'm not. I'm only gonna ask once, twice. I'm not baseball, so there's no three strikes with me. Anybody who knows me knows that's my saying. There's no three strikes. What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not doing it a third time. Not gonna keep asking. The invitation is always there. Um, but we're not gonna keep. We're gonna move on. We have people booked for the next month, whether it be. But when you guys ask me, why you don't have anyone from Jersey City? I'm trying. I have people booked already for next month. It's a couple of, I think one councilman has confirmed, so stay tuned. Um, and another one has reached. I reached out to. We haven't got a date just yet, but this is the reason why that we've been a national show. I would love to just focus on Jersey City, but Jersey City is not giving me the love that Grayson. Grayson has love for Jersey City, but the love is not being reciprocated it comes back to when it comes back to Grayson Politics Live, or whatever. So I'm not gonna beg nobody, when it comes to that. Let me see if I can get her back up. Let me see. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's send her the link again. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, she is back.
I couldn't take that. I could not take that static.
You heard it? You heard it yourself?
I heard it the entire time, but I was trying to bypass it. After a while, I was like, yeah, this is a little too much.
Okay, yeah, now you're clear. Clear as a whistle. You good. Um but yeah, it's just like it
My name is Asian North.
oh, I thought that was me. Um yeah, it's just like if you're not a part of these cliques, like I see wholeheartedly, I respect him, everything he's done for Jersey City and stuff like that. But you have people, I'm gonna call him out too. Bill O'Day, I think he ran for mayor twice in my lifetime, back in in the 90s, and then now when after Full Up. But I have video and audio of him when Full Up first came on the scene and stuff. Oh, he's paid his dues in this city and stuff. Da, 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 da. It's like, why do y'all all? I get it. If you don't have to not like a person, and I get it, you all come together and stuff like that. But there's got to be a lot of behind the scenes things going on and stuff
They
like.
all go out to eat together.
And that's fine. I don't mind that. You can agree to disagree, but don't at the end of the day say he's a bad guy and stuff like that, and then he's a great guy and stuff like that, and then you're in the back in the photo op with Solomon, when it came to the 250 million or whatever. You were there. You were there, sir. You were there, or everybody was there. So it's like with the $250 million in debt. And I reached out to Solomon. I'm going to reach out to his communications director formally, and because social media doesn't really count, when you're a mayor, I guess. But I want to know, where's these $1,000 rent, or whatever, these campaign promises and stuff like that. Where's the money for that and stuff? I know it's not. I by the look of your face, it's written all. That song is written all over your face. You don't have to say. I mean, it just it really irks me when they do this photo op stuff. It's a behind the scene, and then they come back and
They all
endorse.
go to dinner together. They all hang out at the same bars together. All of them sit here and play this game to get by, to get by. They all are butt buddies at the end of the day. And I say that wholeheartedly, the exact same way I say it. They all play the same game to get by. They all sit back and talk about what ways that they could stop this and whatever. They got the ideas. Only during election time, though, because it seemed like after election time, everything that you once said, everything that you once said goes out. Like you forget all of that, or you remember that you can't do none of the stuff that you promised to begin with. But it was good to promise it because somebody else said it. And again, these people been around. Bill O'Day been in politics since I was born. I will be 40 this year. Bill O'Day first became a council person in 1986, they said. What has changed since you've been around? Now, granted, Bill O'Day
and them, yeah.
Bill O'Day did good work for people, right? There's things that people will be able to say. He has buried people. He has donated. He has done. Bill O'Day is a person, honestly speaking, you could go to. Would he have become a great mayor? Maybe. But the reality of it is you've also been a part of this political game so long that I really don't feel like he still had what it takes to do it because you played so long in the sand. Like, again, we go up from Bill O'Day. You got a Jerry Walker. Why did Jerry Walker drop out of the mayoral race against Full Up that time? Let's question these things. See, the answers that I heard, I will never discuss on this platform or any platform because, it is definitely not a good look. However, he could have beat Full Up. He would have beat Full Up. Full Up ain't have that much. Jerry Walker was Jersey City. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's just certain things that it makes you go back and question, Why didn't you do this? And people could sit here and take up for whoever they want because they're friends. And oh, well, they
Mhm.
didn't have to do. Shut up, mind your business. Because I'm not talking about you and your friends. I'm talking about the person that's a politician. Because I know some great people, but I know some horrible employers too. I know some people that I could ride or die with as a friend, but I would never ever have anybody work under them or for them because I know what type of person that they are. So again, so many people have all of these attitudes, they have all of these issues, they have all of this stuff to say because it's their friend. Take your feelings out of it because
All right.
when your taxes go up, what do your friends say to you? Man, that's just another thing that they got going on. They try to smooth it and all. No, tell the truth. Man, they wasn't going to do nothing about it. We knew this was going to happen because we was talking about it before. We done had meetings. Trust and believe. I get you. I guarantee you, if I sat down with half of these side chicks that these men be messing with, I will know a whole lot of stuff. Cause see, that's the difference. These men pillow talk more than they do anything else. Or if
Mhm.
I go to their boyfriends, because let's be clear, there's a lot of them that got a lot of closeted relationships too.
Mhm.
So if I sat here and went and laid in bed with these people and sat down and talked to them the same way that they did, trust and believe we will know the truth that nobody is coming to save Jersey City. Nobody that's from here, nobody that lives here, nobody that grew here, and damn sure ain't nobody that flew here.
Yeah, I saw him go down, and the Post. I saw you comment on that, but the New York Post, I didn't like what they said because first of all, they're not a hometown. They're not like the Jersey Journal or NJ.com and stuff like that and stuff. So I think they shouldn't be meddling in. I think they were just reaching and stuff like that, saying that Solomon was going down to Trenton to go beg, for the 250. It's within his right to ask for that money, or whatever. The man has 4 months in the job and stuff like that. But I'm gonna call you out, it's within his right. He's probably getting counsel on certain things, but you got to get rid of some of these directors. All
First of
these
all, you need to get rid of all of them. Let's be
yeah.
clear. We got directors that make $150,000+ a year. We have employees that work for the city that make less than $60,000 a year. If you were to take, and again, these employees are the ones that are doing the jobs. They're the ones answering the questions. They're the ones blood, sweat, and tears. Their contract. They're the ones that are getting promotions and they have civil service titles now. They're the
Mhm.
ones that are on the back burner because if you don't know somebody that knows somebody or you're not kissing the behind and all of this stuff, if you're not on the campaign trails, your resume is just as good as it is on a piece of paper. If you're not in the know-how and the good how, and then we got people that's not even qualified for half of the positions that they're operating and functioning in. And so it's like a slap in the face to the people that are actually doing the work. So let's be realistic. What Solomon is eventually going to do, and he might not do it and he might will. However, I gave him 6 months. 6 months to start the layoff process. His workers and these city entities give it about 3 months. I said I'm gonna give him 6 months because I'm gonna just linger it out. So, but firing and laying off the people on the lower end of the totem pole is not going to do a dent in any deficit that you have. How many directors do we have? If we have directors, again, even if it's 20 directors, say if we got 20 directors
Mhm.
and they all make $100,000 plus a year, that will put a little dent in something compared to people making 40, 50, $60,000 a year. So we gonna get rid of the smaller people who do the work to keep the people that's not doing the work. So that means ain't no work gonna get done. So again, if you were to now let go all of those directors and hire from within, somebody making $60,000 will go up to 80, 85,000, 90. And then you could say, well, we cap it at this amount because here's my take on it. Why are public servants making so much more money when the cities that they are public servants in are not doing good? Like, why are they being able to get rich off of people's backs? If anything, to have a public servant job, I'm not saying they shouldn't get paid a decent amount. But if the city isn't operating and functioning at its highest capacity, why are we paying people so richly to do so poorly?
And they
Don't
just
make
approved
sense to
the
me.
raises for the council.
Well, they're employees. It's mainly from
Oh,
what
the
I hear.
the
is
staff.
mainly for their staff. So not all of them have 3, 4, 5 staff. So that's where one of their issues that they say is, oh, well, we don't have enough time in a day, or we don't have enough this. Well, if you had council people that actually did their job, you guys would be able to do other work instead of doing their job. Because I know when they said, what was his name, Baggiano, his daughter was doing all his work. He wasn't doing barely half of the work. That's why he always had a sheet of paper in front of him. Because his daughter was the great council person. Yes, she was the aide, just like I hear Ridley's aide does a great job at doing the job. But Ridley is never there. And at this time, this was when Ridley had a county position job, which is something that's common for politicians, right? So the other day, somebody asked me, politicians can't have more than one job. I've never said they can't have more than one job, but how are politicians having 1, 2 jobs that run simultaneously the same hours? So which job are you doing at which time? And granted, they'll say that what do you call it? A council person works 24 hours. Name a council person that has worked outside of 5 o'clock, unless it was a meeting. You tell me which one goes outside 9, 10, 11 o'clock when something is going down. And I know she's not leaving out her house, Ridley, especially because she got a son. She's a single mother. She not with her baby father, as they say. So let's be realistic. When do you leave and to do all of this stuff? When do you have time? Then you are the chairperson of the she's the head
JCRA.
chairperson, JCRA. She was always she was the under Danny when she was in it last time.
Mm-hmm.
She's over JCEDC, if I'm not mistaken, or something. She
Which
got
they need to
many
get rid
hats.
of. Which they need to get rid of because they overlap in this.
Well, she's a realtor. What she does overlaps with being on JCRA.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is what we call double dipping. And if we're going to talk about things in a way of how can we move this community forward, let's start with the double dipping. The reason why our council people went from once upon a time $30,000+ to $60,000 to now $84,900 or something dollars is so that they could eliminate having more than one job. Because who gets paid for a part-time position at $85,000?
I sure don't. I gotta
Nobody does.
I gotta go to work tonight after this. So and I can't do it from home.
And you can't do another job while you at your job, right?
No.
You can't get 2 paychecks.
No.
So again, the person who asked me why can't a politician have multiple jobs, the same way an employee can't have multiple jobs at the same time. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of them people that work up at that city would love to have a remote job that they could do while they're at work. Because from the looks of it, if you don't know somebody that knows somebody, most of the paperwork that get pushed in those places get pushed to the back burner. Because while all of these business owners always complaining about how it's so hard to get from point A to point B to streamline their businesses, especially when they look like me and you. Because we don't have enough representation, because let it look like a black person is doing too much for us, it looks like it's a problem. You're showing favoritism. But I see it all the time with white people and Spanish people. Indians, everybody else. Everybody else can have a group of people that support them except black people.
Mm-hmm. You don't come together.
It's not that they don't come together. Every time they do come together, somebody is always looking to step on their toes to get them in trouble for doing the exact same thing that they're doing. When you look around half of these places, look at the last name similarity. They all say they're not related, but it's just so funny how everybody got the same last name. Make it make sense. Just like Jeff Dublin. How you got your sister-in-law as your assistant and your son as an analyst. How you got all these people working under you?
Pure nepotism. If you're not supposed to do it in the White House or you can't, not even supposed to do it on that county level. I don't understand how that's pure nepotism right there. And I don't understand how that should be audited and Craig Guy should be looking into that. I don't understand why, which he's running for election and stuff like that.
They're all friends. Why would they do that? Why would they look into their friends? They're all friends. Bill O'Day, if Bill O'Day could have ran against Craig Guy, he would have. But you know, he can't do nothing against Craig Guy simply because Craig Guy got the backing of Solomon.
Yep.
Solomon not backing Bill O'Day on that level for an executive position.
Executive.
So let's be realistic.
Been there long enough to have it.
Well, he been here long enough to have it, but unfortunately, it seems like people just don't want him to have it either. As you can see, the positions that they keep getting reelected for are positions that most of the time don't nobody even know about, show up for, understand. So that's why now I started asking them, do you even know what your job title is? Because evidently we saw in that video from, what's his name, the Long Island, some guy from Long Island, he goes around to different places to do the same thing like we kind of do, except he goes to those entities. So he went to the registrar's office to go show people how easy it is to assess the books. Yes, they are very old, very fragile. Some of them they don't want you to touch simply because that's how old they are, like beginning of time old. Understandable. But he was trying to stop this man from doing what he could do during the public opening hours of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. But then he tried to say these are laws when they weren't laws, they were policies written by them in the office. How don't you know you were once a freeholder? How don't you know the difference between a law and a policy? That's a red flag for me right there. Just the same way he tried to step on Melissa Alexander's toes to not be able to run against him for this position. Now you see he got a host of politicians backing him. Why are y'all backing somebody that makes $100,000+ that don't even know the difference between the law and the policy? The sheriff had to tell him the difference. Do you not look incompetent and stupid? But you want me to believe you can effectively do your job. What is your job to do? Because you don't even know the difference of the two things that you should know very well, like the back of your hand. But when we talk about these things, it's like we're attacking them personally. No, everything I've said about you was professionally. It was politically driven. And I can say some stuff I've heard personally, but that's not what I'm here for. I don't care about what goes on in your personal life. I don't. But people tell it all when they tell it all. And I don't talk about it because that's none of my business. What you telling me for? You air it out, not me. I'm not here to air out dirty laundry. What I am here to do is get answers to questions that have gone unanswered since I was a little girl. I'm talking to my parents and I'm talking to them about the same things that they was talking about when Cunningham was mayor. Like, so we just gonna keep playing to get by, to get by, to get by, to get by.
And kicking the can down the road.
That's it.
From
Everybody taking the chance.
Administration. Yeah.
And if you connect the dots, there's always a lingering part of the old administration going into the new administration. So eventually those tainted waters get tainted too.
Like you were talking about the senior things. They've been doing that. Well, from what I remember when I first got into
since the beginning of the time.
Yeah, I know. But the Haley administration, I've seen them wholeheartedly do it and then they're the ones who get the buildings and this and that, when it comes to election time and stuff like that. And no knock on the seniors. I got family who are seniors and stuff like that and whatnot. But when it comes to getting them out to vote and this and the other and stuff like that, it's really, they prey on them. And like you said, so it's really bad. And then last but not least, we're not here to,
we are. I am.
Call out people, but
they get paid enough to not have their feelings hurt by somebody having a conversation with them with facts. Because it's not like, the sad part about it is everything that's been spoken about has been written about. It's just unfortunate that most people aren't reading it. So then you got a girl, again, like me, who's reading it. And if I don't understand it, I will throw it in ChatGPT and say, break this down for me. And then what do? After I learn about it, it makes sense to me. I'll have a conversation with somebody that is more politically driven than I am. And they're like, no, this is how it was, or this is how it used to be. I don't talk to these new politicians. They don't know nothing. They were never around. They didn't sit in those seats. And when they did, they didn't learn. They just listened. And so now here it is. It's time to educate the community. Let's talk about, I didn't know people didn't know that Waterman approved for her daughter to get her dispensary license. but it's right on paperwork. Then you go back and do an apology tour as if you didn't do something wrong to begin with. The point is, it should not have happened. But that's another play in a political world where I allowed you to do something that you ain't supposed to do. You one hand wash the other. While you turn the cheek to what I'm doing.
She just befriended me on Facebook for full transparency. I don't know why, but uh,
I mean, she's a regular smegular now. She
yeah,
trying to
now.
go around an event. I'm pretty sure she still looks sharp. I just wish that
Oh,
she put the same amount of effort that she put in her attire and her presentation into her city. She
yeah,
would have never had to
that
worry about it.
that and the Pompadour thing too. She was a part of that
And she
nonsense.
went to Paris on our
All
dime,
right, on our dime.
her and her daughter, because I
Yeah,
remember that trip. Just
yep.
like that was when her daughter was running over the JCEDC when all of that money went missing. And just
Is
like before reentry closed, her son was running it. Where all the money at? That's all I want to know.
is former councilwoman Prince Airy part of JC
Yep, she's the
economic?
executive. She took over Jen and they gave her the position over Jen.
Pull up, yeah. Philip did. So did Solomon is the only one who could shut that down because there's overlap with that.
What's the overlap?
Well, you got JCRA, you got all these entities that need to be merged
Well,
into.
JCRA won't be merged with JCEDC because JCEDC is more about economics and business.
Okay.
JCRA is basically the backdoor deals for the city to sell off their property. So the city, from what I learned, and
Mm-hmm.
again, this is from me having conversation, JCRA is the people that could sell off the property. The city can't. So that's why they have the JCRA as a way to sell off the property.
So that's how Philip was able to sell off that
Finagle.
100 million.
So from what I hear and what the talks are is, say for instance, if a developer who donates to campaigns sees a lot or sees a building and has been eyeing it out of nowhere because of the relationship, it goes on, the agenda to be voted for, not given to the public, but it's going to this particular group because again, it's the relationships that was already there. And from that, that's how they get those properties that we never knew. So when Solomon was talking about these $10 lands and all of these different things, why are we talking about these things now? But we can't acquire it, but we didn't know nothing about it. There are organizations that I'm pretty sure had $10. And if they didn't, they could have borrowed the $10. Even if it was $20,000, I'm pretty sure somebody that knows somebody else could have asked somebody for that money and paid it if we had the opportunity. They keep telling us that we're not prepared and we're not doing this. We were never given these opportunities, and it's not because we weren't in these rooms. It's just because we don't kiss those cheeks,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't bend over backwards, and we don't let people slide up and down with a pole in places that they shouldn't have them. And let's be realistic, behind closed doors, a lot of things get done that could never get done on the forefront, and this is why they get done behind the back doors.
What's your take on? I saw a video the other day. I think you posted it, and I saw it from the county. And we want to post acknowledge the good things here on Grayson Politics Live. The vans is being given out to certain organizations from the county. Craig Guy doing that, and I saw Pam was a part of that as well. Nicole Johnson. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, it was a good thing.
Mm.
I'm going to take it away because anything is good when it comes, but is it something that's only being done because it's election time? Because how long was those
He
vans
is
sitting
running.
there before?
He's running.
He's running, definitely. But it also goes back to a more logistical question is, was there RFP put up so everybody could apply for it? Because I sure didn't see it, and I get RFPs every day because I'm in their portals. And I
Mm.
guarantee you, if I go look up some of these businesses, I guarantee you they're probably not even in the portal to do business with Hudson County or the city. So how was it that they were selected? But I don't want to sound like a hater because I'm not. because I don't want a van from anybody that, I've seen what the city did to other people's vans, to the PAL, when they sold off their vans after COVID and never replaced it but one. So if you're going to do stuff, do be fair across the board. And again, it seemed like a lot of the people that's getting selected now are the people that stayed on the coattails of those politicians. So
So
again, let's play circles.
no, yeah, that's why I asked you about it, because you give the good, the bad, and the ugly about it, and I like that, because it's just it. I was like, how convenient is this around when he's running?
2 months, two,
Yeah,
3 months before
yeah.
election. Now we got brand new. We got these vans. I'm pretty sure they probably got a couple thousand miles. Them vans probably been sitting around for how long? Because
They look pretty
DCP&P get new
crusty
cars.
and dusty. Yeah,
Right. DCP&P gets new cars on a regular basis. That is one thing that they do. So that's not something uncommon. But where was these vans stashed at? Because like I said, if that was the case, PAL should have been the first people to get their van.
that's
Because why did y'all sell off their vans without their permission? You auctioned them off. And then when it came down to getting new ones, nobody on the council, quote unquote, knew what was going on. But y'all, where the money at? If y'all don't know how y'all sell people vans off for little pennies to nothing, do you know how much vans cost? Vans ain't nothing cheap. But again, this is what the city does when you're not attached to them for their personal gain. When they realize that you don't need them, when they realize that, you're not connected to kissing behind and rubbing elbows and doing all this. Listen, we are constituents. We shouldn't have to go above and beyond for you to see us. We supposed to be able to submit an application, and if we qualify, we're supposed to be selected. If we don't, you explain why we don't qualify and you keep it moving. But a lot of this stuff that goes on does not show people qualified. Just like I heard in the grants department up here, what is it called? The CDBG grants, those grants and stuff that come out of there. I hear Jerry Walker just walk in those offices and sign his name. He don't even apply. So yeah, people will feel like, oh well, he's been around so long, he shouldn't have to. Who gives you the right to get? Who died and gave you the head honcho reward?
to cut the line, so to speaking.
Exactly. So again, this is what happens as long as we continue to be quiet. There are people that are literally sitting in these offices like, I just watch this stuff happen. I just watch how these people come in and do what they want. But where's the real money at? Because let's be realistic. How many college funds did these organizations give out? Some of these people, from what I learned, get donations on a monthly basis from high-end places. On a monthly, and I'm not talking about little bits of dollars. I'm talking about thousands and thousands and thousands. All of this money that's coming in and out of some of these organizations is not going into those organizations how they should be. I don't care how they try to push it, put it, layer it, flip it, fillet it. A lot of this stuff, this city should be a lot more different than what it is, and it's not, due to, again, money being dispersed and money being put in places and being hidden, tucked away, and not fully going out towards the people. So, but yeah, our data is what they use to get all of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna harp too much on this van situation, but I'm sure Louis Spears organization can use a van, and
I'm pretty sure he could use more than one van.
exactly. So,
But again, he did run for mayor. You gotta pay attention to certain things. He ain't always in the
13,000 votes. 13,000 votes. He gave Philip a good run for his money. 13,000
but
votes.
again, you gotta look
I
at
voted
the
for him.
politic game.
Yeah.
If you ain't in the in crowd,
No. Yep.
and if
He
you
don't.
not,
He
again,
don't rub shoulders with a lot of them. Like, you don't really.
you don't have to. Because the thing is, too, the disappointment from this, from the city. So many people have applied for grants within Jersey City, relied on those grants, and have been denied grants after being approved for them. So could you imagine you have an organization and you put together this whole grant for $200,000+ to get none of it? Imagine you do that not 1 year, but 2 years. And every time it was time for the money to be dispersed, it was quote unquote reallocated somewhere else. That goes the same for the machines. Some of the equipment that they were supposed to get. Grants was written for this, but somehow, some way, Fulop found a way to find loopholes to use that money to go other places allegedly. So because all of these things continue to happen, again, these directors, why aren't y'all voicing y'all opinion about these? Y'all ain't got to sit there and say it, but there ain't no way that I went backdoor and tell this information to somebody that's willing to say it. Just the same way with Gilmore. Gilmore could sit here and say how much Fulop didn't like him. Why didn't we know how bad he didn't like you? You didn't tell us that.
For full transparency, I asked him to come on the show. He reached. He did respond. But he said he'll get back to me or whatever. Now I do respect that. But we got to get with the program, and I know your schedule is busy. I see you walk down here. I'm in Ward B. I see you walk and you're in Ward F. I see you take your walk every day, and I say hi, Councilman, to you.
You take his walk down to Ward B?
He walks from Ward F to Ward B, walks all the way down by here I'm by 440, Virginia and 440.
Oh, he going to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. So he walks, takes a nice walk, and walks back and whatever. And he was like, he walked down there. That's Joe Brooks territory.
Right, what are you down in that area for?
But no, he walks. Yeah, he's walking to the gym, and I say hi, Councilman. But if you watching or you watching this back, let's get it. Let's get it, because it seems like before you were Councilman, you had the podcast with Gatson and Pam and them and stuff. You had time and stuff like that and whatnot.
What?
And now we don't have time. I got to look at my schedule and this, that, and the other. I got 2 councilmen booked right now for next month who about to come on, Jersey City councilmen. A lot of people ask me why this, why that, why you don't have a lot of Jersey City people on, and why we became a national platform or whatever, because the Jersey City people don't give the love back.
They don't want to answer your questions. Let's be realistic, right? When you become an elected official, people are going to ask you questions that you once studied answers. So this is what makes me disappointed in Gilmore. Gilmore, personally, my dog, right? He regular Degree from the hood. But outside of that, let's be realistic. The Gilmore I remember, and this is why the Gilmore got in over Jermaine, even though Jermaine was under Fulop ticket. We didn't care about that, right? We cared about the fact that you tried to disrespect one of ours, and we wasn't tolerating that. When he went and put his when they made that mugshot and put it on all the cars, we took that personal, because we looked at it like, so what you trying to say? Like, again, Gilmore is more relatable to us than Jermaine was. Even though they both in the same hood doing the same thing, like, it was two different. It's like two different brothers. Like, you got one brother that's this, one brother that's that. But one thing you're not going to do is play one out for the other like you better than them. So that's where we looked at the disrespect at. But let's be realistic. When Gilmore was sitting in his cars doing his lives, my boy used to have pen and paper. My boy used to have stats. My boy used to have facts. I remember I went on Gilmore podcast. Everything was, he was educated. Gilmore, when that name fitted for him, because he literally turned politics into hood politics. Did we like how he always talked? No. Did he always say it in ways that we was like, bro, you making us look bad? But he was also learning. So we respected the game, because guess what? You was putting you were putting us up on game that we were not privy to, because again, we wasn't into this stuff. We was living our best lives. Like, this stuff wasn't affecting us. Some of us still was living home with our parents, just moving out. We wasn't really into. And again, I've been on my own for the past 15 years. So likewise, I was on my own, but at the same time, this stuff was not directly impacting me. We was working. We wasn't really feeling the burn. Now we feeling the burn because we opening up businesses. We opening up organizations. We're
Like,
starting to step into other places that we start to see like, this why you got quiet? Oh, this why you stopped doing this? Oh, this why this stopped being like that. And so again, that's where my issue coming with him is you stop educating us. It's like the moment you got into position, you forgot why you got into position. You know, even with Fulop not liking you, you was dog walking Fulop before you got in office. So now because you got in office, what they gonna hold you about? Ethical stuff? He was doing unethical stuff by not inviting you to meetings that you didn't know about. So let's be realistic. Like Tuka played this game, but you gotta play this game a little bit better. We asking you about why our streets not paved. You like, oh, I'm still trying to find out where that money went. Why you ain't asking nobody? You know how easy it is to get information from people in 2020? Well, this is what 2022, three,
it's
whatever year it
all
was.
time.
It ain't hard to get information out of people. I know girls that give you free information for a drink. Okay, I know some people. All you gotta do is buy a bag of weed. You can find out a whole story. I know people that have set somebody up for free. So yet again, why aren't you in these offices finding somebody that you could chit chat and talk to that could give you information that you need that could move the community forward? But we stop figuring out ways to reposition ourselves when it's convenient. And so that's how I feel about Gilmore. And it's unfortunate because could he be the best of the best? He probably could. And the reason why he could is because he speaks our language. But for somehow, some way, it seemed like nobody speak our language no more. And we're speaking foreign languages. And when we ask for questions, we don't get answers. And unfortunately, Ward F is just again the forgotten ward here.
especially since it's being the redistricting and the gerrymandering under full up. It is definitely the forgotten ward. I've lived over there, and that was one of the reasons why we moved, because when under Jermaine, I couldn't even get anything like done. Like I couldn't get little things that I needed as a constituent. I'm like, yo, I knew he lived right down the block from me. I lived on Monitor at the time in Communipore, and I'm like, and he's living in like this nice place, and I'm like, how come I can't get in there and you got in there and stuff like that? You know, I have a family and stuff like that, but I digress. But
Cause
yeah,
you ain't in the in crowd and you not again, you're not in politics. Again, and from what I hear from people that worked under Jermaine, he
mhm,
had money. Like, you know, his father owned his
yep,
barbershop. Like they
yep,
have generational wealth.
yep.
So I'm not gonna
White
take
Girl
that away from
Cafe, all that. Mhm.
right. So we can't take that away from you. You got generational wealth, but did you even teach people how to in turn get generational wealth? Like that's what I think our politicians forget is when we have issues, they're the only people that we can go to try to rectify those issues before trying to go to the mayor or anybody above them. When they tell us they don't have the answers or they can't get the answers or, you know, oh, well, you got to try this. No, we're trying to find ways that we could bypass all this stuff. Just like when developers come in and they could call their buddies that can get stuff done, we want the same treatment. Our money is the same money.
Yeah, because I went to one council meeting, and this is with the last council, and Watchcom was asking for Lafrac, the audacity, asking for, he had a lawyer there. It got shut down. But they was asking for a 30-year, another extension on a 30-year tax abatement for renovations on a building that was already 30 years and whatever. And they was still gonna have market rate rents and stuff like that. Now, of course, the outgoing council would look bad for them to, you know, vote approve something like that. So they didn't approve it. After, you know, I spoke on it and Esther did as well. But it's little things like that, you know, that really, you know, you got to be in crowd, and I also think it's a general generational thing as well. Like I said, I'm not gonna push anybody away when you were off, when you or whatever, but Gatson, Pam, you still, everything in closing, everything is still, good and whatever the case may be. But if you can't be in these offices, I know, and I don't do the gotcha stuff. You are former elected officials and want to be as elected officials. You're in the in crowd. Pam, I know you are Michael Griffin's chief of staff, if I'm not mistaken. So let's get it, and Gatson, I have some questions for you being on that committee, and I got some questions for you as a principal of Lincoln High School and a
Oh,
former councilman. So like let's get
I
it.
mean, Gaston was cool. I interviewed me and him. We had a sit down
Mhm,
conversation during the election.
mhm.
Um, I don't like the stuff that I'm hearing about Gaston lately these days, but that's here and there. Though, again, there's two sides. There's three sides to every story,
Come on the show.
and
Come on the show.
again, it is what it is. Is unfortunate. Like I don't think
Clear
we
your
live
name.
in a society where people are going to say, regardless of what, no, but everybody is not going to be pleased, right? You can't please everybody.
Mhm.
But
Correct.
I feel like the more we talk about this, the more layers we find out that we're past trying to be pleased. We just want real answers. We want the truth, whether it hurts or not. And it's like everybody's trying to find ways to cover up the truth that we consistently keep going back in this circle again. Rinse and repeat. Everything is on rinse and repeat. It's just like old money, new money. That's the rinse and repeat method. Just like look at the sheriff department. Not many people know that they could apply to become a sheriff officer, but the opportunity is there. Shout out to Brandy Warren. If y'all looking to do that, go
Yes,
to
that's
her.
who it is. Brandy Warren. I love her.
However, most of the people that work up at the sheriff office is generational people, and they don't look nothing like us at all. And they think that they own the sheriff office, and they think that they don't have to do anything right by the book. But yet, as we see, they got sexual harassment claims down there too. They're hiring people that shouldn't be hired. Everybody, because again, it's a favor for a favor. And we're tired of the same old political game of favor for a favor when it comes down to our city not moving forward, and we always taking a step back. But the only people that's always defending these people are the people that get the crumbs from their friends that keep giving and producing these little grants, and that's just that. And if you're not a part of these certain groups of people, just understand you're gonna be running a little harder, or you're gonna have to go outside and think outside of the box.
What's going on with the last but not I know I said last but not least before, but this last but not least. What's going on with the new county courthouse? It's done, but I heard the state is fighting the county. What about so they still using 595,
Mm-hmm.
and so but the new one is built. It's done. It's from what I'm hearing, it got air conditioning, everything. It's good. What are you hearing about that?
I didn't hear nothing about it. I really, that's the square. I try as long as I ain't gotta go to 595.
That's true.
I minds my business about 595 because 595 I ain't got it, and so you know
They want
I
to
don't
make that
know.
a park and stuff. I'm gonna
Of
have
course,
yeah, full transparency. I reached out to Zupa, who I like.
yeah,
I,
Zupa is cool.
I love Zupa. I wish he was. I like him. I liked when he ran last time, and I'm glad he won this time. So I plan on having him the show. I reached out. He did respond. Uh,
Zupa seems like his team seems very more inclined to respond. I don't know why Gilmore told you to wait. Like I get it. Like you said, their schedules are probably, but again, you're cause
well,
you ain't
Zupa
that
reached
busy.
out to me personally. Well, I reached out personally, and he responded personally.
Zupa definitely will respond, and like I said,
Gilmore
even
respond personally, but he just, kind of left me. it's a click. I've noticed this with Brooks, who is my council person. He did confirm for May 11th, so people look out for that.
Jeez,
Um,
it's April. Why May 11th?
well, that and I already have the rest of the month booked
Oh,
already. So that too, I already have the rest of the month booked.
I hear people didn't like him for that award, but I don't know too much about him.
He was a Bill O'Day backing, and they have him and Afro. They run on this liberal platform. And I have no quarrel with him. I need to get to know, and that's why I want to have him on the show to get to know him a little more. And
Mm-hmm.
what because Ward B does need a lot of things. There's a lot of things going over here too on the west side, and that need to be addressed. But I will, when that time comes, I will address it with him instead of trying to go to a council meeting and trying to get that done.
Because that's pointless.
Yeah,
Waste your time.
exactly. So I want to, Erica, I want to thank you for coming on again to Grayson Politics Live and having a conversation. These are not always easy discussions, but
But they
they
need it.
yes, but they're necessary for the community that values facts, transparency, and accountability.
What questions was coming up? I couldn't see none of them.
Oh, you want to
Were
see the
people
comment?
asking questions? I ain't know.
No, people wasn't asking. They was just saying, let me see.
I know they said something about the static.
Hearing,
So I
yeah,
saw.
yeah. My mother's in here, so she was like, I can't hear Erica. I can't hear.
Hey, mom. Well,
So, and then Rashid, he was audio is terrible. Instead of there's a way to say certain things and stuff like that.
he
We
gonna tell you don't be soft.
yeah, we gotta we can't push other people down and stuff like that. You just tell me that the audio is you
Isn't
can't,
good.
yeah. But he's a part of that. He's in the know. He's a part of that. He used to be on Pam's board. I don't know what happened with that
Mm.
in terms of
I ain't telling that story, but I heard about it.
yeah, I heard some things about that too. But yeah, I digress. But I thank you so much on a Friday night. I have to as all
Get ready for
everyone knows,
work.
yep, I have a 9 to 5, so I work overnight. So yes, that's tough, but I do. Bills got
At
to be.
least you got a job, look, because people on this live jobless. I'll
It's,
take an overnighter.
it's hard out here. It's very hard. But I thank you so much for
Problem.
coming on, and we will be in touch.
Okay.
And I will be watching you as always. And we got to stick together. I would love to come on your show anytime. Feel free to invite me on or whatever.
Listen, I'm down for. Listen, I'm
'Cause
trying to.
we
I'm
80
trying to get into these North political streets because I thought
yes,
it was ghetto over here. It's even spicier over there.
I'm
And
having I booked him for he confirmed. I booked
who,
him for
Jamal?
no, not Jamar. I know you had Jamar on Noble Milton, if I'm
Oh,
not
him. Isn't he on the council now or something like that? Or something,
I
or he running?
believe so. I gotta do a little
I
more
think he's
research.
on the counter already because he stay on my people you may know. See, that's the thing. I get a lot of people you may know that be looking. I be like, dang, who sent y'all? I mean, it's bad. Like, it's to the point where people in like different states are starting to say, I'm like, sheesh. When I be don't, and then when they see me, they be like, I just love what you. I be like, please don't watch my lives. Like, don't pay me
No,
no
no,
attention because
that's why we became national. Like I'm next week, I believe I'm interviewing getting a lot of Maryland people. Some people are reaching out to me, but
nice.
yeah, I'm getting someone running for Congress a week after that, and then
Mm.
yeah, in Maryland, and they be like, thank you, because we would never get this exposure,
Well, let
under.
me start reaching out to these Maryland folks. I like
Yeah, reach out to them. Maryland. I got Iowa, someone in Iowa, he was running for state office and stuff like that. So,
Nice.
you know, like
Taking out
anybody,
just the hood politics, right?
no, well, I
But
would love to keep it Jersey City, but Jersey City ain't got no love for Grayson Politics Live. So,
because
you
Jersey
know,
City politicians don't want the truth to come out about what they really doing. And because we are a little too advanced for them, like, this millennial group, see,
correct.
they wasn't
We're the
ready for
80s
us.
babies. We're the 80s
They
babies.
wasn't ready
We're
for
not in
us.
this. Exactly.
They wasn't
Exactly.
ready. They forget that we the last generation
We're
that
the
had
new
to write
kids on
real
the block.
papers. We had to
Exactly.
write real papers. We had to use encyclopedias. We went from the era of having to use dictionaries and thesauruses and things like that to understand what we were doing. We were the epitome of those groups of kids that we couldn't play about our work. Like, if I don't know how to do nothing else, I know how to write. If
Correct.
I don't know how to do nothing else, and a lot again, we came from a researching era where we could not have nothing done without it being fact checked. We came from the era of you had to write. What's the way that you put your references? What's the standard form ELA and all? We had
Yeah,
all of
you had
those
to,
things.
yeah, you had to make sure that you weren't plagiarizing the teacher wanted to see where were your references and stuff like that
Your
or
site
whatever.
pages.
Yeah,
We couldn't play that. There was no and this was the start of the computer being able to spit out. We had to wait for AOL to load for us to enjoy a
I remember
chat
putting
room.
the CD in with Microsoft and Carter and stuff like that. I had to look up certain things because Google and Yahoo wasn't well, I
It
don't know,
it
Yahoo
wasn't. It was
wasn't
just.
it back then.
It was
Yeah.
just gear again in 2004 because I did my 20th class reunion was when
Mhm.
Facebook first came out.
Yep.
So all of these things, like looking at that class when we was doing our class reunion, they was like, "Dag, yo!" Like just the stuff that happened in '04 to 2024. Here we are, 2026. But we just was looking and comparing, like, "Dag, we really went from the merge of basic life to real life. To we went from again education to AI. AI teaches us.
Yep. I'm
So
glad you went to your 20th because I ain't like a lot of people in my.
I did my part. I did the event because nobody else
Oh,
was
you
doing
did
it.
it. Okay.
I didn't
As
care who showed
somebody
up.
reached out to me and I was like, no, I ain't mess with you like that. So don't think that just 20 years later that
Oh
is
no, I did that, and I wasn't even the president. I'm friends with the president, so it still worked out. The president, I think, and the vice president. It wasn't that many of us. We went right to Brightside. It was
okay.
about 20
Good.
something of us, but we had a time. Like we enjoyed the people that came, people that couldn't come was like dag. So I'm thinking about even throwing like since we all turned 40 this year, basically. Like let's
Yes.
have a 40th birthday bash for everybody that's
Yes.
turning 40. Cause
Yes.
we still cool. Like
I turned
again,
40 in December 86.
period 86. So listen, it is what it is. And like I said, we're the only ones that can honestly challenge the system because we were around when the system actually meant something and cared about the kids. Now, granted, this political drama, and we can end after this, has been a politicking thing from Dr. Epps, Dr.
Mhm.
Walker, Dr. Lyles, to Dr. Fernandez. There's always been some type of something, teachers doing stuff that was overlooked, people not there are people that probably should not be working in the board of education to this day that have been and should have been gone decades ago, but it would have looked probably crazy for black men, you know to be firing white people or
Mhm.
things like that. So a lot of stuff just got pushed under the rug, and this is how business as usual continues because a lot of teachers or principals that should have been fired and never been able to teach and be principal again are working up at central office. So if they didn't do a good job in the school system, why would I think that they're going to do so good in the central office? So, again, that's just how it goes. They don't
Retire
like each other up there.
for those
And
ones retire. It's who's is 17? Is Savino still or did she retire? Is she still Principal
There's a
over
lot of them that need to retire.
there?
That
Retire,
should have
please.
been retired. Just like they retired 3 people and brought them back as consultants, getting paid $100 and something thousand. What are y'all consulting? What are y'all consulting?
With that being said, make sure you join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. streaming live. I want to thank Erika again on YouTube and Facebook on our new night where we talk about local politics and national politics across the country.
Period.
I'm your host. I'm your host, Grayson, and this is Grayson Politics Live. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Fine. Thank you for watching Grayson Media, a Grayson Media Inc. production. We'll see you on the next show. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Grayson out.